Hello, Dr. Blair. My name is Shay Walton, and today I'll be teaching about reflective verbs. When I researched when a reflective verbs when reflective verbs come into play is when the subject and the object are actually the same. For example, I would say I washed myself. Of course, the subject would be I, the verb would be wash, and the object would be myself. Since the subject and the object are the same, the verb is the reflexive. Another example would be like I washed the car. The subject would be I, the verb would be wash, and the object would be car. Again, since the subject and the object are different, the verb is not reflexive. I'm going to give you another example of how a verb can be either reflexive or non-reflexive. I scratch myself. The subject is I. The verb is scratch. And the object is myself. The subject and the verb are the same, so the verb is reflexive. And the example to show that the verb is not reflexive is I scratched the dog. The subject is I, the verb is scratch, and the object is the dog. So since the subject and the object are different, that's when one can say that the verb is not reflexive. When a verb is reflexive, the infinitive ends in the S in se, say. For example, lavar, which is to wash, it is obviously not reflexive. Lavarse, to wash oneself, is reflective because it was ended in se. Rascar, to scratch, is not reflective because it didn't end with an se, it's ended in ar. Rascarse, which is to wash oneself, is reflexive because it finished in se. Again, bear in mind that when a verb is reflexive, the infinitive ends with an se, like lavarse and rascarse. Those two are reflexive. There's also one reflexive verb you have been using since you began, like we began from the Spanish 1 class, like llamarse, which is to call oneself. So, for example, a question would be like, cómo se llama usted? Like, what do you call yourself? Then I'll be like, me llamo Shay. I call myself Shay. Bear in mind that a more natural translation would be, what is your name? And I'll be like, my name is Shay. When anyone learned to conjugate regular verbs, they needed to learn like pronouns which are called like subject pronouns. For example, lavar, yo, you would say labo. Tú, you say labas. Él, ella, usted, you say laba. Nosotros or us would be labais. And ellos, ellas, ustedes, you say ya van. Like, if you want to learn how to really conjugate reflexive verbs, one should try to learn different set of pronouns, and those pronouns are called reflexive pronouns. These pronouns are positioned before the verb while the ending se is dropped and the verb is conjugated like normally. Like lavarse, You say yo me lavo, which is I wash myself. Tú te lavas, you wash. Él se lava, which is he washes. Ella se lava, she washes. Usted se, and bear in mind I'm using the se in all of these examples. You would say usted se lava, which is you wash. Nosotros nos lavamos, we wash. Nosotras nos lavamos, we wash. And vosotros os laváis, you all wash. Vosotras os laváis, you all wash. Ustedes se lavan, you all wash. Ellos se lavan, they wash. And ellas se lavan, they wash. The reflective pronouns are not subject pronouns, rather than that they are object pronouns, such as me, such as me, which is myself, te, se, nos, us, and so and se. I really do hope that you learned a little bit from my teaching about reflective verbs, and I hope that you can use that for your future references. Thank you.